Okay, good morning. It is, and good evening. It's January the 9th. January is clicking along quite nicely here. And this is our morning meditation. I don't know. I'm really stuck on it being morning. I realize it's not morning for most of you. Sorry. It's our Monday live meditation. And this morning, I wanted to talk to you, do a little short talk on posturing. Right now we're reading Will Johnson's book on the posture of meditation, and this is from the introduction. So I noticed that Alice did a post for the book, and this she chose her focus, and this was a piece from the introduction that I thought was really important. So I wanted to make sure we highlighted it here. I'm not sure how many of you are joining us for the book club, but I think that if you are part of the, so I'm just going to ask a favor. If you're just still getting set up, can you mute yourself and turn off your video camera until you get set up? Because it's for those of us who are seated and ready to be going, it's quite distracting to have the noise and the video going still. Thank you. Okay, thank you. It's really great to have all of you here today. I appreciate your presence. And then when you're settled and ready to join in, you can unmute yourself and turn your video cameras back on. Just we want to have a quiet environment for learning, just like you would if you were in a physical space. You would arrive a little bit early so that you were ready to get going just at the time that the class was going to start. If you were going to a yoga class, same kind of thing here. So we appreciate that you arrive on time, ready to go. And if you can't, just mute your microphone and turn your video camera off until you're settled, and then it makes it less distracting for the rest of us. Okay, so as I was saying, one of the things that's in the introduction to the Will Johnson book is a concept on posturing, which I think is incredibly important for what we're doing here with the somatic meditation. So when we're letting go of tension in our bodies, we've touched on this before. The question is, what are we letting go of when we're letting go of tension in our bodies? You know, we're letting go of literal physical tension in our bodies, but it goes much deeper than that. And we've talked about how when we let go of tension in our bodies, we're actually letting go of ego and ego structures. And I think Will touches on this in a really important way in the introduction. And so I wanted to tie this into our somatic meditation. So he has this lovely way of describing this process of ego identification and holding on to ego, and he talks about it in terms of posturing, which I think is just a really great way of talking about it. So posturing refers to an attitude of self-image that we self-consciously create, identify with, and project. And all of these self-images depend on holding our bodies in different ways to create desired effects. So by holding our bodies, we create different postures that express different attitudes. And these, I would say, are deeply entrenched and go back to our childhood and ways of getting recognition from our parents, from our peers, from our teachers, from those that we value. So I would say, and I'll be curious to hear your feedback. Sometimes it's really obvious when people are posturing. You'll see people walking down the street with kind of a swagger, like people with, and it's easy to point the fingers outwards, but I'll give you an example of how a posturing that runs really, really deep for me. So like a really easy one to point the fingers outwards is like, kind of, I don't even know what group to call them, but people that wear their pants low and then they've got that swagger, right? Like really. So that would be like an example of posturing, right? Like that's not really a natural way of walking, but it's kind of a swagger, a way of walking that they adopt so that you know that they're part of a certain culture, right? So for me, an attitude of posturing that runs really, really, really deep for me and that I'm really attached to, and it's really a big part of my ego structure, is that I'm a hard worker. And this started, years and years and years ago in my childhood to gain recognition from my parents, because in my family structure, I was the lost child, the orphan child. And so in order to get noticed by my parents, I worked hard to gain their attention. So that's something that's been lifelong for me, is this posturing of being a hard worker. And it's one that's really difficult for me to let go of. And so this shows up in my self-identity and the way that I self-identify. And this kind of posturing creates stiffness, it creates tension, it creates an unnatural quality in our body. So we tense our muscles, we hold ourselves in different ways to intentionally manufacture and create a desired persona of ourself and self-image. And it might even not be one that we want to kind of particularly hang on to anymore. So another one that I create or hold on to or want to have is this, and I can do it, and I do it, is this, I'll manufacture this, this image of a relaxed person, right? Or a grounded person. So, because to be a yoga teacher that's kind of spinning out of control just doesn't fit that persona, right? So I'll struggle with my more true nature, which is rather fierce and energetic, and I'll create a posture that's more grounded and relaxed, because I feel that's the kind of self-image that needs to come forward in my line of work. And that's another kind of posturing. So we all do this posturing, and it creates these layers of tension in our bodies. So I'm sharing with you like some very real, some very vulnerable levels of posturing that happen, and we all do it. So when we manipulate our bodies so that we can create a specific self-image, we truly limit our range of self-expression. And we restrict this natural movement of energy in our bodies, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the energetic, and spiritual. And ultimately, when we do this, we miss out on our natural state of balance and relaxation that is our true nature. So when I manufacture this kind of relaxed, calm yoga teacher, everybody misses out on the true, fierce version of me that exists, right? So, and I know when I tap into it, people just, it's like there's a resonance that people just line up with really, really well. So the French word for posture is okay, I need Bene for this one, is poseur. She can probably say it way better than me. And it speaks to this as well, this idea of coming into this perfect posture, trying to be something that we are not, other than who we naturally are, is this idea of being an imposter. And we all have this, just this little bit of natural discomfort too with being an imposter as well. There's even a thing in whatever field you're in called the imposter syndrome, right? Because on some level, we feel like we're impostering. So through somatic meditation, what we're doing is we're letting go of this posturing. And the more we do our somatic meditation, the more we let go of the posturing, the more we let go of the ego identification, the more we let go of the self-images that we identify with. And we can accept who we are in truth. And we can experience who we truly are without any need to be who we naturally are, anything other than what we naturally are. So through the somatic meditation, we're letting go of some of the unnatural posturing, the posing, the self-image creation, the ego, and we're entering into who we are in a more comfortable way. And the more we relax, the more comfort we experience, the more we'll experience the insights of our true nature. So Will Johnson, in the introduction of his book, he points out that this is often a stage of meditation that's overlooked. And we're spending a lot of time on it because you can overlay, and you maybe have seen this a lot or come into contact with it with other people, where you throw a technique on top of the posturing, right? And then it just becomes another layer of posturing rather than letting go of the ego identification. So I think it's really important, this level that we're doing, this letting go of tension, this letting go of posturing. Because otherwise we're just throwing a technique onto, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound, right? It's not getting at the core, at the root cause of, I think you understand what I'm saying. So I think that Will Johnson has a brilliant way of putting it this. He says, whatever personal postural habits of body and mind serve to obscure the truth of our enlightened nature are gradually dissolved. And he says the posture of meditation can be viewed as a mudra of transformation. And I know that how much many of you love the mudras. And so this mudra that we take, this mudra of lying down on our backs on the ground and letting go, is incredibly powerful and incredibly transformative, because we're letting go of this posturing, we're letting go of this self-imaging, we're letting go of this self-identification, and we're opening up to the truth of who we really are. So that's what I wanted to speak to you about this morning. And we'll go around now and you can let us know where you're connecting from today and what time it is for you. And then you might even want to state one self-image, one level of posturing that you know that you identify with, that might be that you might feel as letting go of through this meditation. That's something that you could also include in your intro today. So I'm going to unmute the people that I muted. We'll go around.
So I'm Ivy, and I'm connecting from Warwick, New York, and it's 12:45 p.m. this afternoon. And my favorite mask is the person who has it all under control. Gotta get rid of her soon.
I'm Hannah. It's coming up for 6 o'clock here in the UK. I know one mask I do have, and that is, it came to mind as soon as you started talking about this, Melissa. It's when I'm out in the wheelchair, I have to be the person who's perfectly happy to be in the wheelchair. I have to have a smile on my face. There's no way I can be grumpy. Otherwise, I'm that grumpy old so-and-so in the wheelchair. So I have to sit in the wheelchair, have a good posture and smile.
Sorry to laugh, but
yeah,
how awful for you, right?
Yeah.
I hate any version of you have to smile, so I feel very much sympathy for you for that one.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead. Marina and then Paige.
I'm Marina Patrice. I'm joining from Philadelphia. It's just about 12:45 here. And my favorite posture or mask is being pretty and fine. So it was really hard to join you guys today before I showered, but I did it anyway.
Atta girl.
Paige. I'm in Italy, and it's like 6:45 here. Competent. I'll have doing everything well, doing everything first of all, and then doing it really well.
Yeah.
Which is a joke.
Yeah, but that perfectionist, it runs deep and wide, as you say. Yeah.
I'm Linda from Holland. It's 7 in the evening, and I have the same thing, posture as Paige and Melissa. I recognize a lot because I'm also always busy, and being busy is not only because I am busy, but I have to be busy because otherwise I'm lazy, and lazy is is bad. And I can relate to it very far from my childhood, to get recognition or attention, always busy and doing the best I can, Mm-hmm. Very tiring.
Quite exhausting, yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to talk about it here.
You know what I like about it is that each time somebody says their mask, everybody else laughs, because it's not only because it's so ridiculous, but that laughter is the shadow too, right? So then as soon as the shadow comes out, then there's a huge amount of freedom that comes from that.
Yeah.
I'm Bene. I'm from France, and it's like 9 p.m. And I go like Linda on that one. I am the doer. I have to be in the action always. So so to prove I'm not lazy.
I'm Madeline, and I'm connecting from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And my posture is the one that's like always has to hold in my secrets.
Yep. That's a good one too. Okay. Nancy says, surrender keeps coming up for me and the need to be right. That one runs deep for a lot of people. I'm glad you brought that one up, Nancy. And Nancy's saying those are some of mine too. So I'm thinking she's identifying with the ones that are coming up as well. So thank you. Thank you all for having the courage to voice your postures. I think that soon when you do, their hold isn't as strong, I think. Yeah. Okay, shall we do our meditation for today then? So you're going to lie down on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And you're going to place your feet a comfortable distance from your pelvis so that your pelvis and your low back can relax as much as possible. And place your hands on your belly to draw your energy down towards the core of your body. And as soon as you lie down, you can start to feel your body sinking into the earth. Feeling yourself supported by the earth. And you may want to pull a blanket up over top of you so that you don't get cold, or even put a small pillow under your head so that there's no strain under your neck. Just notice how your body begins to relax as you lie down on the ground. See if you need to change your position in any way so that there's no effort or holding going on at all. And notice how your body starts to respond as soon as you come into this meditation position. So that the posturing and the self-image starts to release as soon as you lie down on the ground. Your body is beginning to respond and relax. So by lying down, you're connecting with your body, you're connecting with your true nature. And you're starting to let go. Letting go with the self-image, letting go of the posturing. Feeling your 2 feet, the 2 sides of your buttocks, your mid-back, your 2 shoulder blades, your elbows, and your head. So feel the earth underneath you, and we'll begin as we always do in your feet and your big toe. Putting your attention into your big toe. Feeling the sensations connected with your big toe on both feet. Feeling the bones of your big toe, the muscles and the skin. Allowing the tension to come forward. And then letting that tension release, dissolve, and let go. Coming to the second toe on both feet. Feeling the tension, the tightness, the holding on through the bones, the skin, all the little crevices, the nail. Allowing that tension to come forward. And as you do, notice how that tension starts to release, dissolve, and let go into the earth. So following that tension down into the earth. And even as you let go in your toes, you're letting go of self-image, you're letting go of ego, you're letting go of that posturing. There's a softening that begins to occur. Coming to your third toe, putting your attention into your third toe along the bones, the toenail, the muscles. And it's okay if you can't fully bring your awareness there. Remember that over time, your awareness will build. Feeling the holding on. Then allowing that tension to dissolve, release, and let go into the earth. You may feel that tension letting go in your toes, and you may feel it in a completely different part of your body. And it may be a little bit of letting go. It might just be a slight softening. The more your attention goes in, the more the melting process can occur. Coming to your fourth toe. Feeling the length of your toe, the sides, the underside, the toenail. Feeling the tension in every single part of your toe down to the tiniest places. So your whole body is filled with tension. And this is your self-image that you're consciously creating, identifying with, and projecting. And when you create these self-images, you create these holding pattern in your body. So the holding happens right down to the level of your toes. By expressing different attitudes with your body, you create stiffness and tension, this unnatural qualities in your body. And now when you bring awareness to this tension, you begin to release it and let it go. Become aware of the tension in your baby toes. Feel the holding. Feel the way that you intentionally manufacture this desired persona or self-image right down to your baby toe. And know that you don't have to hold on anymore. And feel how when you let go of that self-image, that your baby toes relax and you become a little bit more who you truly are. So now all 5 toes are releasing, relaxing, and letting go. You can feel them lengthening, melting, dissolving, and letting go into the ground. So now you're coming into the ball of your foot, right behind your toes. Feeling the tension there. Feeling the tightness, feeling the density, the layers of density and tension. And then begin to feel it dissolve and melt and let go like sand moving through an hourglass. And it may let go a little, it may let go a lot, it may just slowly dissolve. And however it's letting go, you're just going to follow that down into the earth. Coming to the arch of your foot, feeling the brittle tension and the tightness, the tautness along the arch of your foot, the front, the middle, the back, and the inside and the outside of the arch of your foot. Feeling the tension, feeling the holding on. Letting go of trying to be something other than who you naturally are. And feeling that let go in the arch of your foot right now. And then coming to your heels. Feeling the tension in your heels, the tightness, the density, the bone of your heel. And then feeling that tension, that pain moving down through your heel, like as though it's moving down through a funnel into the earth. And then coming back to the whole sole of your foot, feeling any remaining tension along the sole of your foot and up into the interior of your foot. Letting go of any remaining tension that you're feeling in your foot, knowing that you don't have to hold on anymore. Notice how much energy it takes to hold on to this tension. Know that you don't have to work that hard anymore. Your feet don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do this meditation perfectly. You can just feel the tension, come into the sensation of tension, and then observe the dissolving of tension into the earth. And then feel your ankle bones on the inside, your ankle bones on the outside. And notice when you bring your awareness to the tension in your ankle bones that they too start to join into this downward flow of energy, releasing, relaxing, and letting go. And then bringing your attention to your calf muscles. Feeling the tightness in your calf muscles. Feeling the density. Feeling the tightness, feeling the holding on of the self-images that you identify with. And letting go so that you can accept yourselves as who you are in truth. And know that when you experience who you truly are, that you don't need to be anything else than who you truly are. Feeling your shin bones at the front of your lower leg. Feeling the tension in the bones and the muscles on either side of your bones. Letting go of the holding on. Feeling the tension behind the shin bone. And then coming into your knees, feeling the tension in your knees. So now your whole lower leg is relaxing, releasing and letting go, and feeling that dissolution of tension down through your lower legs and into the earth. And then come to your buttocks on either side of the ground. Feel their contact with the earth. And feel the tension at the point of contact. Feel the holding on. And allow your buttocks to release, relax, and let go and connect more deeply with the earth. Become aware of your pelvis, your pelvic bones. Feel the stiffness and the tension in the pelvic bones themselves, and allow the pelvic bones to release and relax. Feeling the pubic bone at the front of your pelvis, this tailbone at the back, the sacrum connecting with the floor. Allow these parts of your pelvis to soften, release, and let go. And then feel the muscles of the pelvic floor, the figurative muscles around your anus, your perineum, and your genitals. Feel the tension, feel the holding on there. And allow these muscles to soften. Feeling the lower belly and the abdominal wall, the tension and the holding on there. As you soften the pelvic floor, you might start to feel that the lower abdominal wall is tight and holding. So allow your lower belly to relax and release and let go. And then come to your upper legs, your quads and your femur bones. Feel the tension in the muscles of the quads, your upper legs. Feel the tightness and feel the holding on. Allow these muscles to soften and relax and let go. Letting that tension release and dissolve and let go right down through your pelvis, through your buttocks and into the earth. And then coming to the upper leg bones themselves, allowing them to soften, release down through the femur bones, into the earth, coming into the inner thighs, feeling the tightness and the holding on. Letting them release and dissolve. And then around to the backs of the legs. Feeling the tightness in the backs of the legs. Feeling the tightness of the hamstrings. Allowing the hamstrings to release, dissolve, and let go. So now your whole lower body is relaxing, releasing, and letting go from your buttocks, through your legs, through your feet, and into the earth. And then coming to your mid-back, below your sternum, at your breastbone, around your rib cage. Feel the connection to the ground. Allow your rib cage to soften, release, and melt and let go. Your lungs. Feel your elbows heavy on the ground. And come up to your shoulder blades. Feel your shoulder blades on the ground. Feeling the tension in around the shoulder blades. All the way up through the shoulder blades, up into the front of your chest, around your collarbones. Through the upper rib cage. Feel the tension, allow the tension to come forward. Allow it to dissolve down through the side ribs, up around the armpits, and also down through your upper back, through your shoulder blades and into the earth. Feel your elbows heavy on the ground. And then feel the tension at the tops of your arm bones, at your shoulders. And allow any tension from your shoulders to slide down through your upper arms, through your elbows, into the earth. Feel the tension in your shoulders releasing, dissolving, letting go of burden, letting go of the shoulds, letting go of the holding on. Through the shoulders, through the upper arms, down through your elbows and into the earth. Unburdening yourself. And then coming to your hands, feeling the tension at the base of your thumbs, your palms, the backs of your hands, through all the joints of your fingers, through your forearms. Allowing that tension to come forward and then letting it travel down through your forearms, out of your fingers, out of the base of your thumbs, through the forearms, down into your elbows and into the earth. Feeling any tension in the muscles and vertebrae of your neck. Any expectations that you feel that others have for you, just letting those dissolve down through your energetic body, down through the earth and into the earth. Down through the space, through the back of your neck, through the space between the back of your neck and the ground, into the earth. Coming to the occipital ridge at the base of your skull. So traveling up the back of your neck to the bony structure at the base of your skull, feeling the tension there. And then following that tension around to your jaws, to the space where your teeth connect. So from your occipital ridge around your ears to your jaw, feeling all the tension, all the interconnected tension, occipital ridge, around your ears, jaw, temples. Feel this huge band of tension that exists there. All the holding on, all the posturing, all the gripping, all the way up through your scalp. So as you know from fascia, everything is connected. So some parts of holding on, some parts of tension, they create bands of tension throughout your body. So feel the interconnected tension, allow it to come forward all the way up through your forehead, your eyebrows, your eyes, your cheekbones, and just begin to allow it to melt, dissolve, release, let go into the earth. Let there be space between your teeth. Let your tongue float in your mouth. Feeling all the tension behind your forehead, right into your brain. Letting that melt and dissolve down into the earth. Knowing that you don't have to hold on anymore. That self-image that you consciously create and identify with mentally and project out into the world. You don't have to hold on in your body, you don't have to hold on mentally, you don't have to hold on emotionally. You can let go on all levels of your being. So now your whole body is relaxing, your 2 feet, your buttocks, your mid-back, your elbows, your upper back, your shoulders, and your head. Completely relaxing, dissolving, melting, and letting go into the earth. And just notice what it feels like here to be in your body, to be with this level of somatic relaxation. What is your experience like physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically? So letting go of all techniques, just being with your embodied experience. Whatever personal posture habits of body and mind serve to obscure the truth of our enlightened nature are gradually dissolved. This posture of meditation can be viewed as a mudra of transformation. So when you're ready, you can make your way back up to seated. Okay, so this time is for you to speak about your experience, whether it be about your experience today or experience or questions that you have about your meditation in general. And as always, listening is just as an important part of participating. So listening is just as valued.
I go first.
Okay.
At the end of the meditation, at the beginning first, my mind was quite busy, and it was difficult for me to focus on the different parts of my body. At the end, I was really scared. I felt like really vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable.
Yes, vulnerable. And physically, my head was really heavy. And I'm scared already. Not yet. I don't know.
Still?
I'm still. Thank you. I can't find my words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got to, so a few things here. This is normal. And you can trust your body. And you can always pull back. So it's just like a yoga posture. When it feels like too big of an edge, you can always pull back and do less. And these places that feel scary are often like a precipice or like an edge that you're coming to, where you're going to come to like a transformation, you know, where you're going to come to a big unwinding. So what Reggie Ray would say, this is good news, even though it's scary.
Wow. I don't know if it's good news, but it's just like if, yes, this vulnerability, like you let go such a big layer of yourself. It's I have tears in my eyes. I'm really shaken.
Yeah, because it's that it is that big letting go of that layer of ego, and so it does feel very vulnerable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know, when we talk about integration,
yeah.
So I think about, so I'll give you an analogy. On Friday, I went and had a Rolfing session, and he worked really deep on me. And it's Monday now, and I still don't feel like I've integrated it. It still feels like I ran a marathon on Friday. Mm-hmm. So like when you have a big experience like that, it will take some time to integrate too.
Yes, and I probably have to journal on that one. I am not used to journal because I'm not comfortable with words, but I feel like it's an emergency.
Yeah. So sometime, and what are some? So you might, if you don't usually integrate with words, what are some ways that you would normally integrate?
I can't say. I don't know.
Well, you might do Shavasana.
Not especially. I just keep the ideas and the things in my mind and just I don't know.
Yeah. So this sounds new to you. This sounds really new.
Yes, it's when I used to say I don't go deep on the things. I just keep superficial, and it's the example, the perfect example. Like if it was self-defense for me. So from time to time, I have a journal. So from time to time, I write on my journal, but just on big things. It's not an habit for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, feel free to check in with me if you need support in the next few days.
Thank you, Melissa.
Can I respond too?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, you can have scary moments in the somatic meditation, but like Melissa says, it always takes time. Nothing happens when you don't want to. So, and I recognize a little bit because I also tend to go right in my head and try to explain it and understand it. And I think for me, I do the somatic meditation now every day, sometimes 2 times a day, and it's always different. It doesn't say that this is a continuous thing. You touched maybe just a part, and now you shy away a bit, and that's okay. Next time it will come up or not. It's not something that will attack you every time. So for me, this meditation, I had this experience. I was also very edgy in the beginning, and then towards the end, I went calmer. But I get this feeling of a glimpse of freedom, what it can bring me or something. I don't know what happened, but it was a kind of a glimpse of, oh wow, how, I don't know how it will look like, this new thing, or without the layers, but there was a kind of really nice feeling like, oh, this is freedom. And at the same time, it was a bit scary, and I get a bit teary, like, ooh, and the thinking starts, and when the thinking starts, for me, I'm going to think, oh, what do I have to do to achieve this? And oh, what will everybody think? Or then the mind takes over. But nothing happened to me, to explain that there is something happening, and it will come into your life very slowly. It's not tomorrow you're a different person. Mm-hmm. It's just glimpsing and taking in, and every time you can. Yeah, it's a lifetime thing. It's not a one-day thing. So I hope to.
I like what you're saying, and I think like Will Johnson in the intro to his book, he uses the example of the way that water impacts stone and erodes stone, and so over years the shape of the stone changes, and so the same with us with the meditation. And I think that the topic today, I mean, this is the heart of the matter. And that's why when we went through the intro of this book, I didn't want that part of the book to go unmentioned, because this is why we're doing this meditation, is to, and this is why you meditate, to let go of the ego structures. And yet so many people meditate, and it's to adds layers of ego structure, right? It becomes another ego structure, right? I'm a meditator. Right? You meet those people all the time, and it's part of their persona.
Yeah.
So this part is so important, and we need to come in contact with it continuously, and it brings up the most vulnerable parts of ourselves. It takes a tremendous amount of courage, absolutely. It brings us in contact with the most raw parts of ourselves. It brings us in contact with the most wounded parts of ourselves. There's no doubt about that. It takes courage.
And to bring it in with the daily yoga connection as well,
Mm-hmm.
that we can trust in it.
Mm-hmm.
We keep that sustained practice, that it's not going to be overnight. As Linda says, we trust that it will support us long term. And I do feel that's a big part of this. I'm not expecting to click my fingers and I'll be a different person. But it's trusting. And I want to practice this in the lying posture for as long as possible. I have no inclination to sit upright yet. I really do feel that I trust that this is what I need.
Mm.
Yeah, I sort of had the idea we'd sit up in the new year, but I haven't really been sitting, you guys. Yeah, I like that, the trusting piece. And I think, I think what happens in our community, not to do too much of us and them, is just so unique. It's just so different from what's going on in other spaces.
Mm.
It's not to say that it doesn't exist elsewhere. I mean, but okay, I mean, I found it with my teacher, and obviously Reggie Ray's teaching that way, but God, it's few and far between.
Mm.
Yeah, and it helps to
sustain practice.
Yeah.
And it's also, we see it so much elsewhere that practicing yoga is putting a layer of ego on. I practice yoga.
Yeah.
I practice this class with this person every week, and this makes me a better person.
Well, and that's not saying that doesn't happen with my classes too, but yeah, it definitely happens with yoga and doing certain yoga poses, and achieving the physical aesthetic pose, right?
Yeah.
Which is just not about, because that's another layer. That's absolutely posturing, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should tell you about this, that meditation. I completely forgot I'd broken my toe, and I kind of yelped in pain when I stood upright again.
Oh,
Really? Wow.
what's it like when you come into that toe in the meditation?
It's actually quite numb.
Mm.
So I can feel a lot more tension in the toe that's next to it, and then when I get to that one, it's a bit of a numbness. I can't really feel it.
Interesting.
Mm.
So I had a practical question. Linda or anyone could answer, but Linda, you said you've been doing somatic meditation every day, perhaps twice a day. Are you using the audio from the memberships community, or are you doing your own internal? How is that working out for you?
Normally I take one of the recordings.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on my mood. Sometimes I take a short one or a little bit longer, and sometimes I know I like to try the earth descending. So I make a choice, and sometimes I do the one of Reggie Ray's. He has I like that too. That's a very long one. It's 45 minutes or something. So, but it depends on the time. And once in a while, when I have a sleepless moment at night, which is almost every night, and then I take the posture of the lying in my bed with my knees up, and then I just go through my body, and then I don't use a recording. So, and that, I must say, that is a new tool for me now to stay out of my head, because normally my head starts racing in the night. So then I just take the posture and my body knows to relax then, and it helps me to fall asleep most of the time. So that's it.
Thanks.
Do you get through your whole body out of curiosity?
Yeah, sometimes, because I can be really awake.
Yeah.
Not always.
It's a good tool for staying out of your head, because
Yeah.
God, I get into the
That's
to-do
that's
list.
my
in the middle
biggest
of the night.
problem, I think, with my insomnia. When I wake up, it's bum, and I start planning and thinking, and it's really so annoying. So this helps. Yeah.
Nancy says she never wants to sit up. She loves the feel of the earth supporting her in every way.
But it is interesting, though. I have the need to sit down to do sitting meditation also now. For some months I didn't do it, and now it's beginning to come back. So after somatic meditation, I like to sit up for some time, and I think what I experience is that it's easier to sit down now. Mm-hmm. It's much more relaxed because I know it's okay. It is easier to connect with the earth, also sitting, and I like it. It's much more natural now. Yeah. Also without doing somatic meditation first, I can just sit down and feel my body better. Yeah.
I agree. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I can feel connection. Mm. Even like I said, if I'm in the wheelchair, I can sit there and say I'm connected to the ground. Obviously, I'm not touching it, but I can really feel that. Mm. This has certainly had an impact.
Yeah.
And as you'll see, as we go through Will's book, there's a lot of instructions on how to sit without creating tension in your body. And also there's a whole somatic protocol that's almost the same as lying down for sitting.
Yeah.
So you'll see it's not like you're just going to sit and go back into all the same layers of tension that you had sitting before. And there's a reason for sitting too, right? When you adult, you're upright. Yeah. So eventually we need to adult again, right?
Yeah. And it's nice too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I will go and search for the book too. Yeah.
I thought you had it already, no?
No, I didn't, because I didn't know if I have so many things to do. So I thought, oh no, another book.
It's a pretty simple book, and it follows so much the protocols of what we're doing that yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna actually talk to Alice about not going every 2 weeks, maybe going every 3 weeks.
Yeah, take the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good.
I have to look.
Yeah, if you're in this group, you're gonna probably want to follow that book.
Yeah, and that's why I think it can be handy. Yeah,
yeah,
and interesting too. The part you talked about today, I think, oh yeah, that's a good thing. I need some support with that. Yeah.
Anybody else want to add anything? Okay, so as I don't know if you do know this, but when you do have I'm your teacher, right? You know this, Paige knows this. I'll use Paige as an example. When Paige has been through something big in the past, she connected with me. You guys can reach out to me as your teacher. That's part of being in this inner community. So if you have a big experience and it feels like it's not integrating well, then that's what you should do. You should reach out to your teacher, and then we can talk through that and give you some resources for integrating. Okay, if it feels like it's not settling right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you for being here today. I will see you on the forum. and have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Namaste.